Srinivasan. He is the founder partner of Sundar, Srini and Sridhar Chartered Accountants. They have formed a presence in Chennai, Bengaluru, Cochin and Hyderabad. He has got more than 34 years of professional experience in working with small, medium and large scale enterprises, cutting across several industries. He specializes in management consulting and management assurance services, including business restructuring, cost management, information systems, and business process re-engineering. He helped large enterprises in architecting complex software applications, ERP lifecycle consulting. He is a regular speaker in many conferences and seminars in India and abroad. He widely traveled across the globe on professional assignments, including several due diligence reviews. Has served as a director in listed closely held companies. He was the past chairman of All India Manufacturers Organization, Tamil Nadu State Board. He was the past president of Rotary Club of Madras Capital City. He was the international secretary of the World Veggie Council. He is a fellow chartered accountant of our institute. He is an associate member of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, with the All India rank. A big round of applause for this, sir. Certified Information System Auditor and a certified in forensic auditor as well. With this brief, I have great pleasure in presenting before you CAS Srinivasan sir to handle today's session, Artificial Intelligence for our CA profession. May I now request CA Vairavath sir to come forward and present a shawl and monitor to Srinivasan sir as a token of our level affection.
Good evening, all of you. I'm really reminded of being a spiritual speaker with all of these shawls and things like that. I don't know whether artificial intelligence will be spiritual or otherwise. I think so. The whole start looks to be a very small audience. I was told that 58 people have registered. I'm not sure whether it is at least me, or otherwise I'm not sure about that. And he also said there's a trend that whenever so many people register, there's only certain number of people attend. So that's the reason why we shifted to this place. Actually, this is a predictive analysis. So what he has done is that using the past pattern, he has arrived at a number and he is right. So only this many people, and still he is able to accommodate all of you here. I think this is the entire subject that we are going to talk about. Instead of he deciding it, somebody else or something else is going to decide that is what is artificial intelligence. In fact, whatever that we need to talk about, pretty much I have talked about. That's all. What is artificial intelligence? We are all intelligent human beings. I think before that, since this being a very small audience, I would like to understand the profile of the people so that I could calibrate. In fact, I would say that I am the biggest beneficiary of this presentation because I have to prepare a lot. But then I learn. So every time you speak before a few people, especially professionals like you, we need to be doubly sure amongst the auditors. So all of you will be also auditing what I am talking, so that I need to be much more careful. So I need to prepare as much as possible. So, I would like to understand, since it's a small group, so how many of you are practitioners, how many of you are from industry, practitioners? Practitioners. All of you are practitioners. Is there anybody from industry? One from industry. Which kind of industry? Building. Ready-mix concrete. Okay. You manufacture ready-mix concrete. Okay, fine. Anybody else? Industry? No. So all of you are practicing people. I could see that to be some 3-4 years of experience in practice to probably 30 plus years of experience in practice. I think all of you have been sitting here. So it's good. So how many of you have spent at least something to do with artificial intelligence. Something, I think today it's the biggest buzzword. Every day in newspaper we see something about artificial intelligence, either good or bad. Some people say no, we have to regulate artificial intelligence. Not one country. I think every country is saying that we need to regulate artificial intelligence. Something which is artificial or should be regulated. I think the first question that's coming to all of us, right? What is so strong about regulating this? Why should, what is wrong if we don't regulate it? So what is this? And there are also a lot of good things that come every day about artificial intelligence, and that this is going to do that. These, all this, sort of good things are coming. I don't think a day passes without something being talked about artificial intelligence in the newspapers. So what is your experience? Again, I would like to make it as much interactive as possible. That's because there is something which is anyway being written. That's what is being written is to make me remember what I have to talk. That's all. Other than that, there is nothing big about it. I think whatever that is going to be there, whatever I am going to talk to you, it's all available. I think it's more of the discussion where probably a lot of questions could be there in your mind. A lot of fear could be there. I think today, are we all going to be out of practice? Are we all going to be out of yes and no? I would say the answer is yes and no. Probably some facets of our practice will vanish. New facets of our practice might blossom. All this might happen. So I would like to understand, as any one of you spend some time, because I see a lot of youngsters also. Really, I cannot underestimate elder people here because some of them do a lot of research on them, on all these things. In fact, the biggest people whom I fear is my client, especially when we, I think many of you will agree. When we talk about, fortunately I'm not in tax practice. Anyway, I know my office people suffer that. So whenever the clients come now, they will be knowing about the provision much more than us. Because for them it is bread and butter. For them it is only one salary, and then every nuances of salary or all sections, all savings potential, they would have already explored. You cannot be doing it. Like that, I think many of you, especially elders, would have done enough research on whatever. So I would like to understand so that I can calibrate the whole thing. So what is any one of you? I think you can say, I think, feel free, this is purely a discussion room. It's not a classroom, or nor it's a typical seminar where in that hall, some last row will be there, first row will be there, a lot of empty rows will be there. So I'll be talking, somebody will be there. Yeah, it's all fine. I think this is a very nice, small gathering. So I would like to understand what all you have already gone through in terms of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a buzzword. I think things have been happening in a very gradual manner. It is not that overnight things have happened. A lot of things have been happening. A lot of things have got accelerated because of certain factors. All that we will see. So, I think all of you will be familiar with ChatGPT. I think 2 years back you were not familiar with ChatGPT. Today all of us are familiar. I think all your article clubs are more familiar than you with ChatGPT because they do a lot of things through that. Beware. Including answering, including preparing an expert opinion, it would be doing through that. How many of you have used BOD? BOD you have not used. BOD is the competing solution from Google. I mean, at least I found it slightly better than ChatGPT also. So you could start using. I think everybody will be having a Google Mail account. So you can just use BOD using a mail ID itself. Probably I think I'm also planning to do some bit of taking you to the actual site. I'm connected to the internet. So that will be a little more useful. It is not that I'm going to bring something new. Many a time I just carry old to the new vessel. But it will be useful. See, again, all these things, what happens is that, including me, we have to spend some focused time on this subject so that we are forced to learn. In fact, I have been forced to learn it from last at least the latest developments. In fact, I spoke about artificial intelligence in the institute somewhere in 2021. Versus 23. A lot of water has flown. I was really surprised. What all was predicted has happened. You are wondering, is there any tool for auditing? Is there any tool for accounting? Will it really replace us? Things have started happening. things are even being used now. That is the status from 21 to 23, hardly 2 years. So that is the he happens to be from my office, so he is just come. Yes, he wants to understand. Usually, whatever boss speaks there, he's one of the partners actually, the younger generation. So I said, you also come so that you can calibrate me when I come to the office. So I don't talk all these things. You're too old to talk all these things. You talk to the youngsters, young brains. So I just want to keep a watch on me. So I just come here. Okay, these words. Yes, you have all used ChatGPT. Yes, or you may not have used it, fine. Any other form of artificial intelligence you have experienced or you have felt? Nothing much so far. Okay, fine. Fortunately or unfortunately, you have been using artificial intelligence without you knowing it. How many of you used, I think all of you are using WhatsApp, right? All of you are using WhatsApp. Have you ever texted it using a different language then? Tamil, most of you have done that. How do you do that? You just change the keyboard. I think youngsters are pretty, yes. I think we need to have some seats. Chairs are there? Yeah, okay, fine. Yeah. So it is 24 versus 58. So this is his predictive analysis. Okay, fine. Okay. So I think you would have tested it. The moment you type out something in English, I think many of you would have done that. It transliterates to Tamil. Types it out. And pretty much correct most of the time. Tamil is not an easy language. It's got so many letters, so many combinations. In spite of that, it brings it out correctly. There's a huge amount of artificial intelligence behind this. Without knowing it, you have been using it. I don't know whether you have texted it using voice. Have you done that? You would have used it voice. So I said a voice mail. I'm talking, you use the voice and type it out and bring it out. Have you done that? Okay. So there's also a small button in the keyboard. Many of us cannot be aware. Click it, you can speak, it will type it out. But I don't know whether you have noticed the way in which it starts typing. Probably I'll do some bit of a small demo. What is some bit of the artificial intelligence that works there? So with these few words, I think most of you have been using it really, the artificial intelligence in your day-to-day life. So how it's going to impact us? Impact us personally, impact us in your own personal finance, banking, everywhere, impact us in your own profession. Be it you are from the accounting side in terms of industry or finance side or as a practitioner. A lot of things can change. So with these few words, let's go to the formal part of the presentation. This is the preview. Some of the greatest opportunities of our time. We have been pretty fortunate, especially some of the elders sitting here. We all started with a black color phone, the long wire. Even in cinemas, somebody will carry the phone with a long wire, and then the hero will speak. From that time onwards, we talked about OIT, non-OIT, own your telephone. OIT is own your telephone, NOIT is not own your telephone. And then it will easily come 12 years to 15 years once you apply for a telephone. There was hardly 80s. Now it's about 30 years. In these 30 years, what has happened is something phenomenal. I think this generation, has seen something which the other generations have not even imagined. That is the kind of speed with which things are happening. As I said, between 21 to 23 itself, ChatGPTs of this world have come. OpenAI, the company has come out with a lot of these tools. Bard has come, and a lot of things are already there, which is being used in different softwares, in different. I think today, any website you are using, this is a banking site or any site, The moment you are asking for help or it will be popping up, do you want any help? But that is not human being. They are all chatbots. None of them are human beings. In fact, you put a couple of complex questions to that. Say, would you like to talk to a live assistant? Until the time you will not know that it is not live. It's a chat engine. But don't be surprised. 5 years down the line, the same chat engines will behave much more like a real agent and answer things because they will start learning. Learning is something which we human beings do. Computer programs normally don't learn because they are static. You tell X is there, X plus Y plus divided by this 2 is equal to Z, then you give X, Z will come. This is how the programming traditionally was being done. So, somewhere they say that it's going to be by 2030 the global GDP is of the AI portion alone is something like $15 trillion. Today, the first question every enterprise is asking is that, what is your strategy on AI? Do you have an AI strategy for your business? This is the question the boardroom is asking. 2 years back, they were all asking, do you have a social media strategy? That's the question they were all asking. You know why social media strategy? In one night, the complete reputation of the company can get spoiled. By social media. Just one night. Next day morning, the chairman may have to answer completely awkward questions next day. But the managing director has to do that. So do you have a strategy? That was a board question. Do you have a strategy? Do you have an experienced PR agency to handle such kind of a fallout? Do you have that? So like that today, every company, they were saying artificial intelligence, no, we are far away from that, we won't use it. This was the answer 3 years back, 2 years back. Today the answer is, yes, we are thinking of using it. There is something meaningful that might come in our business. So there's going to be a big portion of the global GDP. It's to transform organizations across every industry. So of course, usual Gartner and all these big research organizations comes out with predictions. A combined combination of human and artificial intelligence would recover about 6.2 billion hours of worker productivity in 2021. So where will these workers go then? They will have to do something different. When we all wrote the double entry bookkeeping in books, I don't know, I think very few people here could have done that. How many of you have written manual books? Hardly 2-3 people. Oh, you have done it? You'll see pretty young. How many? You have done it, yeah. I think at least I can see that 2-3 people here who have written. I've seen people totaling reading. Meaning they have put the total in red. They have such a kind of confidence in putting the total. And then they will spend a lot of time. And I think we all spend enormous amount of time as an article clerk in tallying trial balances. Today, we say that we have to tally it. Tally trial balance, tally into the trial balance. Where is the question of tallying trial balance? That's what everybody is. I think today's boy. Next level, I think some of these students are asking, what is the entry for this? Sir, you just go plus the F5 or say, put it, you pass the entry, sir. What is the entry, man? What is the evidence? What is the critical? Sir, that will put the entry, sir. That is the answer today. 5 years down the line, or 10 years down the line, most of the accountants will not know accounting. Because they won't be, because system will pass the entry. Automatically. Most of the entries will get passed. So how will these people know? In fact, this happened not today. That's what you're going to see. That's exactly the thing which you're going to see now. In the next 2.5 hours, probably, you will all be convinced that yes, whatever I'm saying is real. I will show you some demos. Okay? So in fact, this happened not today. In one of the chip company, software was architected by me long back. I'm talking about 30 years back. 30 years back of programming, it all evolved. In its entries will pass, all those kind of things, the typical standard computer programs. Some 15 years back, I was interviewing one of the employees, who is the accountant there. He happened to be sitting in the interview for some other company. Incidentally, I was interviewing. I was asking him, since he is from the industry, since I know about that, I said, when a group is terminated, what is the entry? when some all this kind of two things, sir. I don't know, sir. Then he said, you are an accountant. No, sir, I just press termination and it will pass every. That was the program written by me. He said, my God, I was spoiled with this accountant. Because his entry is not knowing. System is passing the entry. In fact, we used to have a system generated entry of certain category those days itself. So based on the event, it's a standard entry, system will pass. Based on if you press the button saying this is done, or after the completion of the event, it will pass the entry. So most of it will happen like that. Anyway, lot more will happen. Okay. So IBM Global, they say that artificial intelligence adoption index is 2022. Adoption rate is 35, which is only a 4-point increase from 21. With that itself, we are saying so much. Imagine what all would happen. Because today, any survey, typically, most of this presentation will talk about surveys. Most of the people will say that all the surveys, Deloitte survey, PwC survey, all surveys will be there. So many companies will have it. Today, only about 20% of the companies, they say that we have started using artificial intelligence. Most of them are saying, yes, we are thinking of using it. Only very few people are saying that. Today, probably about 40% of the people are saying, no, we are not interested in this point in time. Which has come a long way from 3-4 years back. The technology companies invested billions. Just look at IBM commitment, $1 billion. You have heard of Watson? Watson is an artificial intelligence engine of IBM. You just type out Watson, you can see a lot of these things. In fact, Watson was the one who started playing chess with the real chess player. You may have heard computers playing chess even with our own champions, and then those champions getting defeated and all you would have heard. So all this started from there. See, Google made major investments in AI, including acquiring a company, machine learning company. Bard is one of their offerings now, as I told you. Renowned theoretical physicist Stephen Hawking. Have you heard of that? Have you heard of him, Stephen Hawking? Have you ever wondered that how that man lived and then did research? A man is completely paraplegic below his head. He cannot speak. He had his own device to speak artificially. So, brilliant brain, astrophysicist. And his prediction is that the success creating true AI would mean the end of human history. That is his prediction. But I don't think it will become like that because humans are much more flexible and they can evolve themselves. That is how we have all survived so many years. So it's not so easy to completely eradicate or kill history or human history unless we learn how to avoid this risk. This is the most important. As long as the AI is still your servant, it's fine. At least your friend, or not a servant. Next. See what is involved in intelligence. See, we all call that gentleman as intelligent. All of us have got intelligence. Intelligence is a human attribute. Ability to interact with the world. We are able to interact. We are able to speak. We are able to calibrate our speech based on the audience. Correct? When somebody doesn't understand English, then immediately we switch over to the language which probably we and the person knows. When the way in which we speak is not understood, again we calibrate it to make it simpler. We calibrate it to make it more acceptable, more understandable to the person. See, all these things happens. The breakneck speed in your own brain. So speech, vision, motion. In fact, many of these senses are actually combined to help your intelligence. The ability to model the world and to reason about it. So a lot of these things. See, if you really look at it, when you was a small kid, all of you would have seen small kids. Some of you would have spent more time with your grandchildren. Probably when your children were there, you would not have observed them so much. When you have a grandchildren, you will observe them a lot because you have little time to play with them. And even children. Some of you will definitely, most of you will have children, and then you will see how they learn if you observe it. When you say first, this is Pune. All of you know double, right? Pune. And it says Pune. So you make some sound and then say Pune. And then you also try to tell them whether it should go here or not. Many things you actually, without knowing, you are actually teaching them. And then it happens once, twice, and then some other cat comes. Kuruppu Pune. Vella Pune. See, in fact, a lot of information starts getting in the brain. There's actually a lot of information being stored. When they really see a slightly different cat, still they call it cat at a later time. Because they have learned so much, they're actually doing a pattern analysis in their brain and then say, this is the pattern and this is the kind of sound and this is the look and feel, then it must be cat. It's such a complex way of thinking and then coming to conclusions. Many a time, what we say, sir, in Dala Pata, Sariyavi Padala, sir. Solamanya. I think we say that, right? Sir, you will even valley with the Padala, sir. Even at the valley of Padala, sir, Sariyavi, sir. Solamanya. Yes or no? Have you ever thought that why we are saying that? And what is intuition? Excellent word. What is intuition? We think that we have become supernatural, we have become spiritual. Sir, intuition is nothing but enormous amount of knowledge points that have been collected in your brain, which starts working in a flash of a second and then gives you yes or no. It actually processes the entire thing. There are multiple layers of knowledge stored. And then when you see a person, because of your own individual experience, of certain people, certain kind of symbolism, certain reactions to what you are saying, how he looks, the kind of attention which he is able to show to you, his background, many things you actually put it in a combination and come to a conclusion, no, it's not true. That is intuition. Intuition is nothing but enormous amount of processing of past knowledge and coming to conclusions. That is what artificial intelligence is trying to do that. So intelligence ability to learn and adapt. Yes, sir. Natural? Absolutely. This is nothing artificial about it. What I am trying to say is that you will see AI is trying to mimic this. So far, when you write the program, you said x into y divided by 4 is equal to z. It's pure x is y is given, z is given. That's all. In the artificial intelligence, you will be seeing it's not so simple like that. There are a lot of information which is scattered around. A lot of layers of information that it gives. Then it starts processing at breakneck speed and then comes to certain its own decisions, which is not a straightforward line. So it is trying to mimic the human brain. That is where the artificial intelligence is. See, it's a theory and development of computer systems. The ability to perform tasks that normally require human intelligence. Of course, many of these normal computer processing is also human intelligence. AI is an umbrella term for a family of techniques. There are a lot of techniques that allow machines to learn from data to act on what they have learned rather than simply following the instructions created in the program. So a typical program, you give a few instructions, based on that certain inputs are processed and then the output is given. That is what is the computer program. See, even if you are seeing today, your screen is there, you are entering something, every layer the programming is there. Here it's much more than that. See, AI is behaving advances in speech recognition, image recognition, and autonomous vehicles. Today we have heard of autonomous vehicles, right? People have already successfully experimented, but not in thanks to a couple of accidents. They have stopped their experiment or they have not taken it to the commercial level now because of so many other challenges. But it will happen. Sooner or later it will happen. We will be seeing driverless cars. Today we are going to have driverless metro trains. Already is there. Driverless trains are already Delhi, I think metro trains are there. But for the time it is going in a single line, so there's not very complex things, so there will be few rules to be followed. Okay. So for businesses, AI can be defined as a way of radically improving three things. One is automation, optimization, and predictions. The predictions is where it's an intuition. That's what we said. Intuition is one way of predicting. So predictions. Automating is a critical yet time-consuming business. So many things that we do might be consuming time. We talk about today auto reconciliation. We were doing back reconciliation manually with fix. I think at least half the people here would not have done it in a manual way. You would not have done it in a manual way. So it's a huge exercise. By putting a wrong tick in the wrong place, your 5 days of work is done. Then we call it in audit parlance jill tick. It's a jill tick sir. So in the debit and credit matching, see, I don't know. Probably it's old memory start. I mean, cash book, which is a primary books of accounting. You account what is primary books of accounting? Sir, books sir. Primary, secondary, tertiary, sir. Primary books of account, then will go into a general ledger, they will get posted, and there will be a sub ledger, which will be having some 1,000 vendors, 1,000 customers, loose leaf ledgers, which is running into this big size. 4 people will be posting that, and that will not tally with the control account, and that is a big exercise. I don't know whether you have heard of something called comptometer. Comptometer, there will be something like a typewriting machine. It will be so big. This comp test are expensive even those days. I'm talking of 80s. He will do only totaling. The machine, like a calculator, actually is a predecessor to calculator with some manual skills. He will be highly skilled in using the machine. He will be doing the comptometer, using the subledgers will be there. He has to do totaling. Everything he will check the total. See, there could be posting error, there could be totaling error. Today, none of these errors are there. We are still doing accountant. Still, we don't have time to file the return within time. We don't have time to complete the tax audits in time, the statutory audits in time. Is it true or not? Have we become without any job? Have we see all these things are occupying a substantial amount of our time. In my 3 years of audit, probably I have spent close to a year in posting and checking those kind of stuff. In vouching, what we were checking, whether the total in the invoice that is purchase invoice is correct or not. Do we any one of us do that? Today, our boys go to beyond one extent. Sir, what is observed? Sir, these are things correct, sir. How do you know? Sir, he told it's correct. He doesn't even check. Sir, our sold are correct, sir. No, mobile on the audit, why? Check on the correct, sir. Allah, sir. So, automation. So, some of the things which we were doing earlier, which got automated already. Some of the things we are doing now will get automated further. Optimization, processes and resources. See, today when we do audit, we have the luxury of doing long-term analysis, data analysis to some extent. We have Excel sheets. We think Excel is given. It's part of our life. So many years back, Excel was not there. There was something called multi-plan. That was the first avatar of spreadsheet. One floppy disk we will put in the machine. That's the operating system. Then it has to be removed. There's no hard disk. Memory will be, and you even imagine, let's say, what is the memory of the computer which I am talking. 128 kilobytes of RAM. 128 kilobytes. People don't even know that measure now. What is the RAM on your mobile phone? 8 GB. 8 GB today. When the first 1 GB came in US when it was announced, because I've been quite closely involved in computing and computers for a very long time. I've been using computers from this time onwards. From 128 KB RAM onwards, I've been using computers. And we were using this spreadsheet those days. So we will pull out the operating system, which is MS-DOS to start with. And we have started using the machine before MS-DOS. And then we had to put another floppy, which will be the spreadsheet software, plus the place to store the data. That's all. You know what is the capacity of that? 526 kilobytes. Why? Because it was 256 kilobytes. This size. to no sector. This big. And then in that we have done work. We have done some computing, which people are, what is this? Immediately it tells everything. Nobody would have imagined something like what the kind of spreadsheets that you use, the kind of databases that you use will never emerge. Nobody will ever know. These are all starting in my professional career. I have used all these things. But today what has happened? So, processing and resource optimization. So there are a lot of things to get optimized. Today, what was not done some 20 years back in businesses is enormously being done. We talk about merchandising, we talk about customer behavior pattern analysis. See, what they are trying to say is that if at 4 o'clock in the evening, if a lady of this profile comes, what she is likely to buy? Has the shopkeeper ever asked these kind of questions? Today we are asking. Today a supermarket chain is asking these kind of questions. Then they say visual merchandising. What is visual merchandising? Have you ever heard of this word visual merchandising? The moment you walk in, which shelf should carry what item at what height? That is going to determine your buying behavior. Today, social media is influencing your decision to such a level. All of our intellects is being hijacked. How many restaurants you go by knowing it? Sir, 4-star, sir. Who is it 4-star? Nobody knows. Is it concocted 4-star or a real 4-star? Every rating that is being given, there is a strategy behind that. There are teams who handle social marketing, social media. There are people who handle rating. That, I don't know, the villages, temples, yeah. Mundiyal, Modalla, they will put some coins there. Because when you shake it, first you will be knowing somebody is already. It's not that somebody has put it, he has actually put it. Like that, every rating that is coming today, that the guy who is selling it, he would have actually created 10 ratings. That is the beginning. And people put over that. Based on that, our decisions are driven. In fact, this is a big bugbear for me. Every day my wife is telling, oh no, this specific offer has come today. Why that offer has come? Because she has purchased the same item 2 days before. He said, you bought it 2 days before, half kg of cashew nuts, which is going to last you for 2 months. Today, 20% discount on cashew nuts, we don't buy it. Have you ever thought of buying that before? System is driving you because it knows that you are buying cashew nuts, the portal knows that, and it probably in 4 months' time it knows that combined consumption of your material, and it knows that your normal purchase pack size is half kg or 1 kg. So much of data is available about you. Today, none of us are transparent with, none of us can say that about me nobody knows. In fact, he knows everything today. So much of data. All that is actually coming from artificial intelligence. YouTube, you will see a few things. What happens next time you click YouTube? You have not actually clicked the bell symbol and all this stuff. Even then, whatever you are saying, whatever the same style of things will come. If you start watching Annamale, only Annamale will come. If you start watching Stalin, only Stalin will come. So it will actually keep feeding you with the same kind of psyche. If you start looking at spiritual, same spiritual stuff will come. Absolutely. Exactly. Then another 1 year it will start giving you TV Sankaranarayan. Similar pattern. TV Sankaranarayan is his disciple. That's why I'm saying. So that it knows. It's not that a simple program is working. There is a huge data called big data which is sitting behind. All this data is collected. See, 30 years back, to do any of these decisions, the data is not stored anywhere. It's only stored in the brain. Today, it is scattered all around. There is so much of data that is available. All this is being used or misused. Either of them. Tool for improving human decision making at speed and scale, and has the potential to augment the work of every employee. So on. Okay, goals. What are the goals of artificial intelligence in a general level? To build systems that exhibit intelligent behavior, to understand intelligence in order to model it. It's all intelligent related. Sometimes we want AI systems to be better and smarter than we are. That is because the advantage the AI has, we have memory loss. Anytime we forget. I think morning is something. Morning, see, you don't remember. But for the system, everything is stored. It's available. Only thing is that it has to cut it out. And it is not that we lose the neural network and we lose some of the things. We talk about dementia, people forget it. So why is it that in fact, invariably we have a thing when you ask somebody's name, the other person also will forget. Have you ever noticed it? Okay? So that is advantage for a machine is that it is not that it doesn't have the habit of a biological disadvantage of aging, a biological disadvantage of forgetting, stress. Yes, it can get stressed if a lot of people are asking questions. That is because of the load. I don't know how many of you started using ChatGPT, probably 6 months back. The beginning stages, he was always saying, no, it's not possible. Have you ever noticed it? You ask the question, it will say, I'm too busy. That's the answer it was giving. The system, they didn't have enough processing power. A lot of issues were there in the beginning. Now it's more or less stable. Even the board, it says experimental. It's not it's not complete now. This is a little bit of history. It's not that artificial intelligence or these kind of things, was not there in the mind of people. 1943, somebody proposed an artificial neuron. Neuron is those cells in the brain which actually does all these kind of things, which stores information, which processes information. In fact, today, still the medical science nor the physical science are understood correctly. It's so complex. It's so complex. Today, with all these things, the probably still getting stored in huge, which is the biggest, very soon it will be the biggest consumer of power. Data centers. We will be thinking computers will not consume power. Some of these data centers, they just hog power, megawatts and gigawatts of power. Today, data centers are not measured by way of processing power. They said that they're planning to set a 1 gig data center. And then what is one gigawatt of this wattage to do with data center? That is the consumption level. That is the grid connectivity of the data center. So data centers are actually the biggest carbon creator in the world. We think by computing everything using computers, we think that we are becoming carbon neutral, we are not creating global warming. No. In a different way we are. That is because if something I am talking now, without this, you can hear. With this, it comes through that wire. With my mobile phone, it comes through miles and miles of wire and then goes to you. Is it efficient? It's not efficient. He's sending a WhatsApp message to me. Does it come just like that? It then goes so many switches and computers and then comes back to me. That is the disadvantage of all this because there's a huge amount of power consumption happening. So, 1956, there is a lot of history. I don't want to go through in detail here. 52 to 69. See what has happened. Somewhere in between, a lot of things were done. Good work was done. But they dropped it saying that all these things cannot really practically happen. That is because the computers cannot process this kind of things. It cannot behave like a human being. It cannot process information like a human brain. They cannot do that. That was the status. So, if you look at it in the 70s, there was a lull. All these things people stopped talking. But then it all started again, 90 onwards. Techniques such as neural networks and genetic algorithms received fresh attention in part because they avoided some of the limitations of expert systems. In fact, the computers, afterward, there was something called expert systems that came. Expert systems are, for example, you are trying to create a diagnostic program. You create a computer program, you feed a few information, and then it tells is likely to have a cardiac valve issue, is likely to have a block in this. So, like a doctor, with all those information that is being given, it tells you that there is likely to happen. But these are all rule driven. These are all rule. What do you say? All the guys who are wearing green pant is not good. You tell first thing. All the guys who are wearing red pant are intelligent. Like that, you keep on giving a lot of rules. Then these rules are processed, and then come to conclusions. This is called rule driven. These are all expert systems. There's a lot of expert systems, especially in manufacturing, industrial systems, they all happen. Expert systems happen. So afterwards, the design of neural networks is inspired by the structure of the brain. Actually, the neural network, they call it artificial neural networks. Actually, mimics the way the systems are created, mimics the way in which the human brain works, literally generating better solutions. So this is what happens are happening 1990 onwards. So let's see what are the key drivers behind all these things. Why AI has become really practical, successful. It is actually taking the real world into by storm. Why? It's because of these things. Increase in processing power at an affordable cost. What was your 10 years back? What was the processing power of your mobile phone? 10 years back. I'm not talking about the long term. Then you also have this slim phone. What do you call it? Featureless phone. Whatever it is. Then they call it smartphone. Today, no. It does everything. You have 8 GB RAM. When the first time I told you in 1992 or 3, 1 GB hard disk came. We were all laughing. He said, who in the world will ever use 1 GB? Will ever use 1 GB? Are they crazy? This was a statement which I made. I made a of course, similar statements have been made by IBM. Everybody have made and then failed. Big data. This is another biggest differentiator. One is that the enormous amount of processing power. Something they estimate something like 4 million times than where we started. That was the kind of speed. You talk about all kinds of law, doubling the power in 10 years, 5 years, all kinds of things happen. Today is a small thing that we are putting. Will you ever thought 1 GB will be only this size? Have you ever imagined it? This was the size of my 20 MB hard disk. 20 MB hard disk. Sir, I have 20 MB, sir. Pride. Saying that I have 20 MB hard disk. 1 lakh is a computer. The first computer we bought was 1 lakh, including the servo voltage stabilizer. Not even UPS. Only stabilizer. Because without that, the system will be finished. 1 lakh. It's 1 9-pin dot matrix printer. To understand what is 9-pin dot matrix printer, then people may not even know what is dot matrix printer. Still, the thing is being used in some of the shops. Yes. So, big data. There is enormous amount of collection of data. Today, what is the amount of e-commerce we are all doing? Substantial volume. Be it Amazon, be it Flipkart, be it Meesho, be it anything. All this is data. It's all sitting there. In fact, one of the maxims says the new oil is data. People earlier say that any country which had oil is a big rich country. Today, data is rich. Today, if you have data of 1.4 billion people, 140 crores of people in India, that's a huge amount of data that is available. See, today, imagine India has had a very successful large-scale vaccination. And it is all captured in a single application. What do they call that? COVID was a single platform where the entire information of all the patients have been stored, including reactions, if any, how long it took, how did it do, what is the age profile. Imagine to do a clinical research and a vaccine. How much of data is available already? See, the Indian vaccines, both which have been, I don't remember the names, Covishield and Covaxin, the amount of test it has been put through in terms of real life reactions and all is far phenomenal than any other country. Canada, which is hardly 10 crore of people, they said the old people have to wait for 1 year. I mean, the young people have to wait for 1 year. Only old people will wait. By then we have completed half the vaccination in the country. It's a developed country. So what's it? Big data. Be it shopping, be it qualifications, whatever is the knowledge. Because you look at it, every website is public. Your website is public, our website is public, everything is public. Every website has got phenomenal amount of data. Everything can be pulled. So the amount of data is just unimaginable amount of information that is available. Internet and cloud. When we talked about the internet starting, what was the speed? 9,800 baud rate. It is hardly some kilobytes of data. We are today talking about normally 100 Mbps. 100 megabits per second is what we are talking. Megabits. That was 9 kilobits. I think some of you might have experienced the initial stages of emailing. The moment you want to connect to VSNL, it will go on ringing and then it will do some sound. All kinds of metallic sound will come. Get connected. You'll be euphoric about it. Internet is connected now. You can send a mail. Today, what happens? There is any place you see there are at least 20 Wi-Fi networks hitting you. So the speed on the cloud, again another big differentiator. The amount of information that is stored outside of your premises, in general places, ability to connect cloud, and then new algorithms. See, all these things we might think that it is computer science. There is enormous amount of mathematics and statistics behind all these things. Unfortunately, mathematics paper has been removed from CXL. We all wrote mathematics in our intermediate. Mathematics 50%, statistics 50%. And one of my friends who was a rank holder in mathematics, BSc mathematics, he always failed in mathematics, in CA. He never completed his CA. But he became much more successful as a businessman. That is because he didn't become a CA. That's a different issue. That was a different issue. Now he's doing greatly a big business and great IT business in US. He's very successful. That's a different issue. What I'm trying to say is that 50% is for mathematics and 50% statistics. Unfortunately, I think our profession is missing that. We should have it in our service. Data science is dependent on mathematics and statistics. Today, if you tell a boy standard deviation, he doesn't know. Correlation coefficient, he doesn't know. Regression, he doesn't know. These are all the things behind all these things. Without knowing it, you cannot do any of these things. I think one of the probably takeaway, which is going to be at the end of the session, right away I'm telling you, we should all get into data science, including me. All of us have to spend more time in data science. Data analysis. I think that is what is going to get us to the next level. Using even artificial intelligence in our profession, we need to know a lot of data science. So these things are the drivers behind the catalyst for the AI progress. So this is a nice video. There is a famous doctorate he's in the US. He has just beautifully done a good video about artificial intelligence. Just listen to it.
Artificial intelligence for people in a hurry. The easiest way to think about artificial intelligence is in the context of the human. After all, humans are the most intelligent creatures we know of. AI is a broad branch of computer science. The goal of AI is to create systems that can function intelligently and independently. Humans can speak and listen to communicate through language. This is the field of speech recognition. Much of speech recognition is statistically based, hence it's called statistical learning. Humans can write and read text in a language. This is the field of NLP, or natural language processing. Humans can see with their eyes and process what they see. This is the field of computer vision. Computer vision falls under the symbolic way for computers to process information. Recently, there has been another way, which I'll come to later. Humans recognize the scene around them through their eyes, which create images of that world. This field of image processing, which even though is not directly related to AI, is required for computer vision. Humans can understand their environment and move around fluidly. This is the field of robotics. Humans have the ability to see patterns, such as grouping of like objects. This is the field of pattern recognition. Machines are even better at pattern recognition because they can use more data and dimensions of data. This is the field of machine learning. Now let's talk about the human brain. The human brain is a network of neurons, and we use these to learn things. If we can replicate the structure and the function of the human brain, we might be able to get cognitive capabilities in machines. This is the field of neural networks. These networks are more complex and deeper, and we use those to learn complex things. That is the field of deep learning. There are different types of deep learning in machines, which are essentially different techniques to replicate what the human brain does. If we get the network to scan images from left to right, top to bottom, it's a convolution neural network. A CNN is used to recognize objects in a scene. This is how computer vision fits in, and object recognition is accomplished through AI. Humans can remember the past, like what you had for dinner last night. Well, at least most of you. We can get a neural network to remember a limited past. This is a recurrent neural network. As you see, there are two ways AI works. One is symbolic-based and another is data-based. For the data-based side, called machine learning, we need to feed the machine lots of data before it can learn. For example, if you had lots of data for sales versus advertising spend, you can plot that data to see some kind of a pattern. If the machine can learn this pattern, then it can make predictions based on what it has learned. While 1 or 2 or even 3 dimensions is easy for humans to understand and learn, machines can learn in many more dimensions, like even 100 or thousands. That's why machines can look at lots of high-dimensional data and determine patterns. Once it learns these patterns, it can make predictions that humans can't even come close to. We can use all these machine learning techniques to do one of two things: classification or prediction. As an example, when you use some information about customers to assign new customers to a group, like young adults, then you are classifying their customer. If you use data to predict if they're likely to defect to a competitor, then you're making a prediction. There's another way to think about learning algorithms used for AI. If you train an algorithm with data that also contains the answer, then it's called supervised learning. For example, when you train a machine to recognize your friends by name, you'll need to identify them for the computer. If you train an algorithm with data where you want the machine to figure out the patterns, then it's unsupervised learning. For example, you might want to feed the data about celestial objects in the universe and expect the machine to come up with patterns in that data by itself. If you give any algorithm a goal and expect the machine, through trial and error, to achieve that goal, then it's called reinforcement learning. A robot's attempt to climb over the wall until it succeeds is an example of that. So there you go. Thanks for watching, and if you like my videos, please subscribe.
He's got some very nice videos. Dr. Ramesh, of course, he's in the US. He's got some very good videos. But I just happened to see this, that's why I just embedded this in my presentation. See, he's beautifully summed it up in about 5 minutes. What is artificial intelligence? Beautifully summed it up. Sorry. He's beautifully summed up about the artificial intelligence. He's talked about recurrent neural networks. He's talked about learning. This is what our baby is doing. Have you ever seen the baby failing to climb a chair, and then the fourth attempt, probably the next day, it will do that? Because first it will try, it will fall, or it will try to protect it. Second it will try, it won't stop. You keep on doing it. It's nothing but learning, which is what they are trying to mimic in these neural networks and the systems. Actually, what it does, it tries to do something. Let's say the robot is trying to climb a wall. If the robot is trying to climb the wall, it was not able to do that. Then it finds out, okay, what is the height? Why I am not able to do that? Is there a problem? See, a lot of this information is getting processed. Then it tries to do something else. It is not a normal program. If it is a normal program, it won't do that. That is where the artificial neural networks and deep learning comes into the picture. It is one of the next. See, this cognitive technologies, basically these are all cognition. The human being has got the cognitive knowledge. This is, when we say cognitive, is where we use all the perceptions, all your 5 senses, and then feed it to the brain, and then you use cognitive. That's why I said we have cognitive skills. Human beings have got cognitive skills. The person is painting something. Actually, what is he painting? When he's painting, it could be a portrait of a human being. Now, when he's doing an abstract of a painting, he actually does think of something. It could be a nice, beautiful, airy, windy sunrise. This is my feeling. I try to give it into the painting, which not necessarily look like a photograph. It's an abstract painting. But when somebody is viewing it, they try to get a similar feeling. Actually, they were passing on your cognitive thought process into something creative, and then you are trying to pass on some meaning. That is the reason why these abstract paintings, we always say, I think we also saw in a movie, $1 million beautiful painting, just like the paint, and some movie, I don't remember the movie. I think like Karthi or somebody would be trying to cheat by spraying the paint. When it was jokes apart, actually something when it is abstract, actually it gives a different kind of meanings and dimensions to different people. Unlike, unless in the case of a portrait or something which is like a photograph will do that. So when a painting has to be different, what we are trying to say is that these are all the cognitive skills and creative skills of human being. The newer systems of artificial intelligence is trying to mimic this by various technologies, which is what we saw. See, if you look at that, behind that is mathematics and statistics and pattern. See, pattern recognition is what I was talking to you in the beginning. Pattern recognition is that you try to see something and based on that you form a pattern in your brain without we knowing it. That is where we call it intuition. Intuition is nothing but very deep learning of pattern recognition in human beings. But at a much complex, much faster pace, a lot more. Probably your DNA also has got some stored information. A lot of these things have happened in the learning. So AI is as smarter than humans. The smarter than humans comes out of it's not biological. So it doesn't get a disease. The moment I have a headache, then I cannot perform better. I have cold, I cannot perform. I have fever, I cannot perform. I become weak, I become older. We pass away one day. That doesn't happen so easily there. Even if the system fails, some other system takes it over. With the same amount of knowledge. So when a computer fails, what happens? You take a backup and then it goes into some other system. Cognitive technologies that are seeing wide adoption, making rapid progress. Computer vision is huge. The ability to computers to identify objects, scenes, activities, and images. Computer vision technology uses sequences of imaging classification techniques. What is sequences? Let's say you tell the kid 10 times the cat, 15 times it starts seeing the cat. You tell some thousands of pictures of cat in different postures, different breeds of cat. There's some of the foreign cats, I can never recognize them as cats. Have you seen some of these cats which are pets? They look completely different from the cats that we see here. All that you keep on feeding the machine that these are cats. Then you give one more picture with all that information that is stored in a different array. Using various mathematical modeling, it comes to the conclusion this is likely to be 90% probability, 95% probability cat. That's cat. That's what is happening. Computer vision is something huge. Used by Facebook to automatically identify people. So you're all seeing that. That's artificial intelligence. You are able to mark, you can see that the square coming in them. It says this is what is face. How does it recognize somebody's face from a hand? It's differentiating, no? How? Because it has seen so many human faces, it has been taught. And then it starts seeing this is the human face, and then it starts focusing. So even your camera, it will put a box in the face. How? How it's putting there? Absolutely. Why it's doing that? Because when it recognizes the person, it finds out where the face is. Face recognition, face shape recognition, all these technologies. These are all some form of artificial intelligence. Without knowing it, they have been using it. In shopping, how many people have used Google Lens? I think youngsters would have used it. Google Lens, you have used it? Google Lens? Huh? You have not used it, you have used it. It's reasonably accurate most of the time. Sometimes they will come out some weird things and then suggest something. What is Google Lens? We will show you. Later I will show you. See, the problem is, in your own mobile phone, you have plenty of things already available, which we don't know. How many people are using Google Translate app here? The mobile phone, there's something called Google Translate app. We are using it. We are extensively using, our guys are extensively using it in our audits. I believe why. I also, is there anyone has a Tamil newspaper or some other language? Tamil is there? Somebody's got Arabic, that's what I downloaded. Tamil is not there. They may not be active, they may be active. Can you probably some of you can show a text. I can show you from the translate app. I can just show the Tamil newspaper. It will be live translated in English and you can read it in English. Unbelievable. Assuming we go to North India, the invoice is in Hindi. Our guy doesn't know how to read Hindi. In fact, reasonably, I survived in Egypt with everything being written in Arabic. At least I was able to understand whether I am being cheated or not. Because including numbers is Arabic. If you go to Bombay, including number is Marathi. Bus ticket will be printed in Marathi. Board number will be in Marathi. This will do like this, sir. Yeah, please, is there? I will show you. In fact, in my opinion, I think this is a very useful technique. I think all of you should use it. Okay, fine. Just keep it. I will show you. We will take it. Because I need to show in my mobile view, right? So I am just trying to link this to this to this. So plenty of technologies are already available. We don't know, it is all there in our own laptops, in our own mobile phones. We have to explore it. We have to get the time to explore it. In fact, this I realized about this only when I started presenting in 2021. large amount of translation you can do. I have taught some of these things. My daughter is an advocate. A lot of this Tamil translation of documents, she does do that. This is beautiful, she says. He says, I am able to do, and I express my boss. Because I am able to do Tamil to English translation so fast. You can still correct it. But most of it he does. She should know Tamil. Without that, she may be doing something different. No? She should know Tamil. But it will reduce her time. Sometimes, it's all like because it's not. Even simple things like cut and paste. Last year schedule 3 is coming, this year schedule 3 is changing the year. With all the new techniques available, word processor available, Access available. Finally, when it comes to the partner, it is with last year's number, last year's foreign exchange spending, current year expenditure, nothing is matching. You download Google Lens. I think some of you must be having it. Each Google Lens you just download. You just show it to a picture. You will understand the picture and it will tell you where it is available, what price, which are all the options. And you go to all the e-commerce sites which are everything. So how is it able to understand the picture and then decide? Sometimes it will decide it wrongly also. It will do something similar. Yeah. You are right. In fact, sometimes, as he says, I just showed a chrysanthemum. I don't know the name. To tell you it's chrysanthemum. Probably you just Google Lens, you definitely try. Then just provide. We'll do that. It's amazing. So all our foreign, for example, we did an audit Vietnam. Many invoices are Vietnamese. What this guy was doing there. He used extensively translate. Vietnam audit in pandemic time without going there. We are not able to travel, and then all these scanned images are coming. We have to do audit, and that too Vietnamese, most of the invoices. Real problem. But that got solved greatly, otherwise we could not have progressed at all. We were able to do that. I am telling you simple examples of AI and our profession. These are all little things that will save your time as well as come out with the newer techniques. So machine learning is again, machine learning, actually most of the things that is happening is not even moved to the complete artificial intelligence. Machine learning is also a kind of AI, and this is where most of it is there. They call it robotic process, RPA, robotic process learning. So all these things are actually sub-branches of the ability to computer systems they perform the exposure to data without the need to follow explicitly programming. Means that you give a lot of data points and the patterns, and based on that you start learning. ML is the process of automatically discovering patterns in data. Once discovered, the pattern can be used to make predictions. That's what I said. What is that you going to do? What is pattern? Simple. Let us take this example. He said 58 registrations, normally no need to do. There's something like that. Let's assume that there are 300 seminars that have been conducted. One data point. How many people registered? So 300 time points are there over a period of time, and there are 300 data points of how many people registered, how many people came, how many people left during tea time, how many people registered and went off without coming in, assuming that all that is captured. These are all, am I right? These are all happening, right? It's all that is. Then I'm adding one more dimension. What is this topic? Is it tax? Is it company law? Is it labor law? Assuming that there's some classification. Technology, all this. It's 20 odd subjects. I just plot that topic also. They also try to plot the kind of speaker. One more layer. Then I plot this multi-dimensional thing. Then I'm able to predict a line. It's a predictive line. Here comes the mathematics. Here comes statistics. Here comes the choosing the right kind of model. In fact, when I went to some of these sites, I was off. I said, I'm not going to do anything. Where am I to talk about artificial intelligence? I'm nobody. That was the kind of level at which it brought me down. Because there are so many models are there. He says 20 different kind of models. Choose the model. And then you allow that to happen, it starts choosing the model. We don't know whether it is choosing the right model. See, why the model? What kind of a curve? For example, let us take sales prediction. Now, this is the example. Now, we need to know what kind of a curve it will follow, what kind of a statistical pattern it will follow. Unless that model is given, then it cannot predict. So, we have to choose the right kind of model. There, we need to know data analytics, we need to know mathematics to some extent, statistics to a great extent. If that is done, that is what is predictive analysis. Here, there is no programming. There are mathematical models available, there are data points available, multiple data dimensions are available, pattern is available. As you saw in the video, you just arrived at a pattern. What he showed was a simple pattern. There will be a lot more complex things in that. That is what is happening in machine learning. Machine learning is one of the hottest areas in cognitive technology. There is something called R. You have heard of Python? Python, you heard of it? I think some of you would have heard of it. Python is a language in which probably in those days you would have heard of C, Fortran, COBOL, especially in the olden times. Then it becomes a lot of this. Today, Python is one such kind of language. You say JavaScript, C, C#, there are plenty of computer programming languages are there. R is one such language which is used in machine learning. Which actually helps in doing things in the machine learning. So, a lot of these computer companies, programming IT companies do that. Next. For example, machine learning, a lot depends on the sensors. For example, it's very simple. You give a vegetable to somebody at home. I think some of the youngsters might be very they all share the product. Okay, share. Okay, fine. So even to cut, what kind of pressure you need to give? How do you decide? First you cut it, then it is hard. First exception. See, this is the one. If you really observe yourself closely, then you will actually start teaching the machine. Many a time the problem is that we don't understand what we are doing. நடக்கிறது how difficult அப்படிங்கிறது குழந்தைக்கு தெரியும், வயசானவங்க நமக்கே தெரியும். Take the 4 steps. How much my father would have suffered at the age of 82, I knew. It was not the case for you. Then probably you will have a problem. And then you do a physiotherapy, for example, somebody who has got stroke. What it actually does, he doesn't lose his limbs. He loses the knowledge for walking. That is why he is not able to walk. Somebody gets a paralytic stroke and then loses their speech. What does it mean? Do you mean to say that they have lost their mouth? No. They haven't lost their larynx? No. They have lost that knowledge bit of talking because it has been learned over a period of time. Then what do? You put a speech therapist. The speech therapist does the whole thing again and then the patient relearns speaking. Phenomenal, phenomenal. The human brain is so phenomenal. In 6 months speech therapy, he is able to gain back that. Probably what he learned over a period of his lifetime. So that is exactly the thing that all these networks, machine learning, that's what you teach to the machine. And then machine starts learning. But imagine, we are not talking about on big dimension in all these things. This is information security. This is scary stuff. Imagine factories can be stopped by a single attack. A nuclear installation, if it is attacked, happened. Places like Iran. What is the catastrophic effect it can have? So there is a whole lot of damage. The more and more it becomes artificial intelligence, more and more it becomes computing, the more and more it becomes computers. There is also a big threat of information security, which also you are, I think, very exposed to in terms of your courses. I think some of you might have done this beginning. Okay. A speech, this is again NLP, ability of computers to work with text the way humans do. For instance, extracting meaning from text or even generating text that is readable. Stylistically natural and grammatically correct. This is NLP is again a cool field. That is the reason why I don't know whether you have seen some softwares or dictation. Drag and dictate, some of you heard of it. Drag and dictate was a software which was popular somewhere 20 years back. We all even bought this. I spent 25,000 buying the software because I thought I would have write the code. I dictated, it would write. It didn't learn from me. It's supposed to learn from me. My inclination, my pronunciation is supposed to learn. But it was more westernized. My accent is reasonably neutral. In spite of that, it was not able to understand. It was not successful. Today, I think your normal word processor can understand what you're talking about. Have you ever tried it? Google Docs. Have you ever tried Google Docs? You're all having Google Mail. There is Docs, it's a software. There's a spreadsheet there free. Docs is the MS for equivalent to MS Word. There's a slide, what do you call it? Slides, which is again a PowerPoint equivalent. There's also a database there. There are plenty of tools. Look at the Docs. It has got a built-in dictating thing. You can dictate. You can dictate straight away to your computer and start typing. Reasonably accurate. There's no problem. Unless we start drooling. Reasonably accurate. But behind that, imagine the kind of accents it has got to understand. When we go and speak in US, they don't understand. When they speak, you don't understand. Imagine in a room, we are there, a Britisher is there, an American is there, a Vietnamese is there, China somebody is there, somebody from Arabia is there. I've been in such kind of scenarios. The 7 people speaking English, it is fun to watch. Each one's intonation, the same word will be pronounced extremely differently, especially the Chinese people speaking or
I was in Assam. We were talking in English. It was quite different.
Quite different. Because a lot of their language influence will be. See, a Bengali speaking English and even Tamilian speaking English, but a lot of difference will be there. See, you go to Kerala, you will not say 20, you say 20. That's the difference. Imagine the machine has to understand. That is where I am coming to. See, I want to just show you how this natural language processing is so nicely embedded in neuron system for dictation with Google Docs and Google of this. I think all of you can experiment this. Probably you can take your mobile phone and then take your WhatsApp. I'm going to send this guy a message. See, this is how it is like, right? This is how it's appearing. You've got a keyboard. So the moment you start typing something, the keyboard appears, right? In the keyboard there is a small microphone. Did you notice that? Not the one above, one below in the keyboard, inside the keyboard. Okay? Now I am just clicking there. Okay, before that I also change my keyboard at the bottom from English to, and there's a globe is there. There's a globe next to your English. You just click the globe, it will become Tamil English. Okay, of course, you have to set it up. It all depends on your settings in your Google profile. It's not so simple. But normally most of you people will be having it. Is it coming? Tamil TA-English is coming. TA-English is coming. Most of you will be having it. Is there? Okay, now, see, I am just speaking. Nalai, Kalai. 3 வாழைப்பழம் வாங்கி கொண்டு வருகிறேன். See, it's typed out. What I have told. நாளை. See, நாளை. It can be நாளை. It can be நாளை. தமிழ் தெரிஞ்சவங்களுக்கே இது தெரியல நிறைய பேருக்கு, அது வேற விஷயம். It has understood it correctly. It has typed out நாளை. காலை வல்லினம் இல்லை, இடையினம் தான் போட்டு வெள்ளினம் தான் போட்டு 3 அதுல 3ன்னு சொன்னேன். 3ன்னு சொல்லலாம், 3ன்னு சொல்லலாம். லாட் ஆஃப் இன்டோனேஷன். 3ங்கிறது சுத்த தமிழ், 3ங்கிறது வழக்கு தமிழ். கரெக்டா? நான் 3க்குலாம் 3 டைப் இருந்துச்சு. வாழைப்பழம் வாங்கி கொண்டு வருகிறேன். கரெக்டா? வாழைப்பழம் ஒரு ஸ்பெல்லிங் மிஸ்டேக் இல்லை. வாழைப்பழம் வாங்கி கொண்டு வருகிறேன். Now I'm going to do a different kind of experimentation to show you what is NLP. Unspeech recognition put together. This is actually two big technologies put together. You are having it in your mobile phone. Now I'm just going to click it again. ஐயா 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 3 வாழைப்பழம் வாங்கிட்டு வாங்க. நான் என்ன சொன்னேன்? 3 வாழைப்பழம் வாங்கிப்பாங்க. வாழைப்பழம்னு சொல்லல. என்ன டைப் பண்ணிருக்காங்க? ஐயா 3 வாழைப்பழம் வாங்கிட்டு வாங்க. Yes, corrected by வாழைப்பழம் into வாழைப்பழம். All our கடகம்ஸ் need this. This is beautiful, no? இது நம்ம நோட்டீஸ் பண்ணிருக்க மாட்டோம். இதுக்கு பின்னாடி how much of technology of AI is there, you know? So much, because it has speech recognition. It is live correcting my mispronunciation, understanding it is banana, helping it out correctly with the right spelling. Is it not amazing? And doing it in a fraction of a second. It is not, it is live. I'm just speaking, it's typing it live. Correct? Yeah, only keyboard. That is because it has to understand I'm speaking in Tamil. Because first it has to understand that I'm speaking in Tamil. After it will do only in English. See, for that you need to do the language setting in your profile in Google. But even otherwise, you are likely to have it. You are likely to have it. You say, this is the thing. பார்த்தீங்கன்னா இந்த கீபோர்டு இருக்கு. இதில் இங்கே வந்து தமிழ் இங்கிலீஷ், இது இங்கிலீஷ், இது இங்கிலீஷ், இங்கிலீஷ், தமிழ் இங்கிலீஷ். Correctly, actually you can do Telugu, Kannada, everything is there. It's not that it is not there. Some Hindi is there. You can speak in Hindi. You can start typing in Hindi. Yes.
இந்த தமிழ் இங்கிலீஷ் கீபோர்ட் செலக்ட் பண்ணுங்க.
TAE பண்ணிருக்கீங்களா? பண்ணிங்கன்னா இங்கே வருவாது.
இல்லை இங்கே போய் டைப் பண்ணிக்கணும்.
டைப் பண்ணலாம்.
வாட்ஸ்அப்ல கீபோர்டே மாற்றலாம். இந்த கீபோர்டு கூகுள் கீபோர்டு கிடையாது.
இதில் வரும்.
க்ளோ போட்டிங்கன்னா தமிழ் இங்கிலீஷ் வரும்.
You need to go and change your Google profile.
Just hold the
Google profile இருக்கு இல்லையா? Google profileல உங்களோட language settings இருக்கும். அதை என்ன கீபோர்டு டவுன்லோட் பண்ணிக்கலாம். See, we need to explore a lot. We need to spend a lot of time in the machine. We need to spend a lot of these things. But in fact, I was surprised. This demo I did last year, 21, I did this. I was surprised it is changing it. Because I expected it to type it as வாழைப்பழம். It is actually converting it into வாழைப்பழம். Phenomenal. If I wanted the Google translate, I just show that. We are not able to show it on the screen. We are able to connect it to this. I don't know where it's coming. It's not coming. I think somebody showed a Tamil screen now. Just showing that. Just can see whether you put that. You're not having Android. You don't download Android. Me using it. The problem is that I have one of the oldest machines in the office. Just 6.5 years old. All these guys have got some high-end machines. So the facial thing, I would like to act as much as possible. I would like to optimize the user. Now it's gone beyond the point I need to increase it next time. It's only 4 GB RAM. Now I'm saying only 4 GB RAM. I have limited with the 256 GB RAM. Now I'm saying it's all because there's so much is happening inside. That is the reason why you get, for example, those days it's a single font courier. There was no concept of this voice syncing and all this UAE. All that was not there. See, on the minimum something, Tamil newspaper, Tamil. Tamil news. Set to Arabic to English. In fact, I did in most of the places in UAE, especially in some other parts of Arabia, you don't have visiting cards in English. They will give you visiting cards in Arabic. How will you know his name, his address, phone number, nothing? Putting phone number will be in Arabic. So you can use it. Mana Mosari Vadaki, Jharkhand, Mudalanajar, Kamala, Tamil. So now I am actually, these are the languages that is there in Google Translate. Plenty of languages are there. You can download correct languages required by you. I am just choosing Tamil. Wi-Fi or bandwidth in institute website which broadband technology எல்லாமே நான் நிறைய இன்டராக்ட் பண்ணிருக்கேன். இங்க வந்து I conducted workshops on Windows security some 15 years back. எல்லாமே அது வந்து சென்டர் ஆஃப் எக்ஸலன்ஸ் மேல ஒரு கம்ப்யூட்டர்லாம் இருந்துச்சு. You have Google Translate in your system. You can try to simulate this. I am using Tamil now. Now Tamil to English is what is there. This will look like this. Enter text. You can enter the text to translate. Also, you can click your camera and then see that. Now I am just clicking your camera and then showing this. The Pradesh ID. Okay. Saying current news. In the case of money fraud, that much is coming. Money fraud case enforcement directorate FIR against Jharkhand Chief Minister. English. So it's live, it's translating it live. The amount of the processing power it has to do is phenomenal. Because you have so much of processing power in this. It's doing a live translation, and it is not that every word has got a dictionary, is comparing and doing this. That is where NLP is coming into play. This is a classic example of NLP. What you saw earlier is NLP combined with speech recognition. Classic example. Light, surprising. You need to love it also. Reasonably good. As he says, you cannot completely depend. You have to do some. I'm telling you, if it does 80%, that's Google Map. 90. Google Map 95%. See, it keeps improving. People tell 5 times. See, Google, the moment it says that you will reach your destination at this time, how does it know it? And it doesn't mean the same time always. And it keeps correcting it also based on the traffic condition. How so many people are going slow using Google. Actually, it's learning from you. See, what is happening? What's happening? There are one person is using Google Map. It is not intelligent. 1 million people are using Google apps, Google Maps in Chennai. That 1 million people information is having. So he knows there are about 20 vehicles or 50 vehicles are going slowly every week. Immediately he recognizes it's red. So immediately it becomes yellow, red. How? How does he know? Does he have agents sitting there? Have you ever thought of that? It's from you he is learning. Because of the data points. That's where I said the huge amount of data that is available. It starts learning. It is not that somebody is sitting in the Google, he is telling him, Indeed, there is a traffic jam. Nobody is doing that. Cannot do that. World over. He is doing that. So it's a tool. It starts learning from you and doing it. Assuming that for 20 days, all of you shut the Google Maps in Chennai. It will not predict it correctly. That's what is actually learning. But it is still fast information. And then from there we will tell you. Yeah. Now let's move on. AI and its current developments. Probably what is it? Generative AI. I think this is one of the words most of you are hearing. Probably in the last about 3, 4 months, 5 months. Generative AI. What is generative AI? Generative AI is nothing but a type of AI that can create new data from a given data set. Something is given, from there it can create something new. This can be done in a variety of ways, such as generating text. In fact, some of these things which you are seeing itself is generative AI. What you saw now, a Vadaipalam becoming Vadaipalam is generative AI and NLP, we call it speech recognition, all combined. And imagine I am speaking Tamil in a particular way, and I am also speaking Tamil in a different way. Assuming that I speak the same Tamil in the way in which some of the Madras people will speak, still will understand. That is phenomenal. That is where all this is generative AI is coming. So this is going to revolutionize many industries, including healthcare. The healthcare can do a good bit of diagnostics of MRIs. It can do a good bit of diagnostics of radiology. It can actually be an artificial intelligence radiologist. Then the doctor has got to bless it. Fine, reasonably. But sometimes, the moment you put some specific findings in your report of MRI into net, they tell you have got a 4th grade cancer. It happened to me. Long back, whatever was the report, I just typed it over the internet, tell that you have got a serious lung cancer. So half my life is gone. The day night I was sleeping. Because it's internet. Internet doctor. Yesterday I went to my friend, he's also happened to be a friend of mine. He's a big, very famous chest specialist. And then I was half paid. And then the moment I checked up my weight, it was already some 5 kg down. So typical symptom, all kinds of, because we know so many things. That's the whole problem. Sometimes, we know everything halfway. We don't know full things. So it's all pattern analysis, no? Weight is not there, this thing is not there, no blood is coming, blah, 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 some cinema, you are taking some information. Then everything you process like an artificial intelligence and then say, oh, I'm likely to have cancer. The moment I showed him, what happened? Are you sorry? Skeptical. Tell me what is something. Why are you bothered about that? You tell me what is the problem. Having cold for a long time is not good. Okay, fine. In this example, you have a science that is problem. You go to meet an EMBA. You don't bother, man, about this. Throw it into the dustbin. That's it. So that difference will still be there with chartered accountants and doctors. That's what I'm trying to say. You will be the final arbiter. For that, we need to evolve. We need to evolve to use this guy as a slave. The moment you make this guy as your master, you are gone. So we need to keep him as a slave. For that we need to evolve and understand this fellow's language and methodology, how it works. And then so that we DL is deep learning. Deep learning is like machine learning that uses artificial neural networks to learn from data. Deep learning. You can always learn. Now it's 7 o'clock, so I'm going to quickly go and show you some demos rather than simple text. Natural language processing, you saw the example. Computer vision. Google Lens is the classic case of computer vision. You can see that. ICAI. What is the ICAI? Instead of every HCI is something, for example, the artificial intelligence moves to the end level. For example, a camera having artificial intelligence, a light having artificial intelligence. For example, the moment I sit here, there is a sensor attached to the light. It is able to understand who is sitting. Because my desk is there, and accordingly it is adjusting its lumen or the brightness of the light. This is not fiction, it's all happening. Philips is doing this, Infosys is already doing this. It means that a guy, wherever he sits in the company, the entire thing will get adjusted to his style. You have heard of this height of the steering, height of the seat, angle of the steering changing. You must be heard of it now. I think normal car, you adjust your height. 10 years back, it was not there. It's there. If you go to a S-Class Mercedes Benz, you go and put your finger, it will change automatically. It will change your height, it will go, then back, front, everything. You are set for your own driving style. Technology. Hack it, the car will go turn turtle. That is information security problem. That is there. That you should remember. Whenever there is a technology, it's a two-edged sword. So if when you go to speak at an information security seminar, all these things you have to really protect. Okay. So HCI is all the achievements. Generative AI, the future. You see that they can create new data from a given data set. Generative AI works by learning the pattern of the data. We saw that. There are many different ways that generative AI can work. Most generative AI models are based on a technique called deep learning. Which you saw. Deep learning, you can see the next. Some of the common types of generative text generation, image generation, music generation. Today you can put music, artificial intelligence music. Because anyway, even human beings, today's music composers, whatever they put, it's as good as artificial intelligence. I don't think there is any down thing. You see, it's all very simple music today. And even wordings also, you can speak whatever it is, it becomes song. Next. Application of generative. Potential to revolutionize many industries, healthcare, finance. In fact, finance industry is going to be a very big beneficiary of artificial intelligence. Because the data points, it's huge. You can start predicting whether a person can become a defaulter or not in the bank. Huge. It can very beautifully do. For example, credit card frauds. Today, the generative AI can actually tell you whether it is a real transaction or a fraudulent transaction based on the pattern. It has happened. It's not new. 4 years back, there was a couple of transactions by international card happening in Liechtenstein State, in Germany. First, so many euros got hit, I didn't know. Message came, but I have not seen it. Then 1 minute, 2 minutes, one more transactions came and went. Both. Then the third, there was a call that came from the bank. They said, there seems to be some suspicious transaction in your card. So we are blocking the card. He said, yes, I have not done it, I am in India, Chennai. They blocked it. And I didn't lose any money. Some 50,000 rupees I would have otherwise lost. So debited, they reversed it. How? It is not that somebody is watching a transaction. The machine is constantly analyzing all the credit card transactions, and then when it goes out of the pattern, we call it outliers in audit. See, normally staff welfare is between 200 rupees to 800 rupees in the payment voucher. Suddenly when 8,000 rupees entry coming in stock will means what? You should be careful. Outlay. Correct? Normally this vendor, the payment is ranging in the last 4 years. See, these are all, we don't do it in audit. The data today is available. Multiple years of data. ERP, even tally you have, but invariably you split the tally every year so that, because the speed is the problem. Because of that we lose actually the data. But it's better that we take out the data in Tally. There are tools in designed for Tally itself. Take out the entire data in a grid form, in a spreadsheet form. It can actually be stored. Ideally, you can even keep multiple years of data in that form and then start analyzing it. When I say grid form, if you take a ledger, narration will come below. Date will come only once. Assuming the whole thing is, again, to understand some of these things, you should learn some database. And most of us misuse Excel. What is misusing Excel? Merging cells. How many of us do merge cells in the title? All of us do. Don't do that. You should not do that. It should be a simple XY column. And for example, if date is coming there, voucher number is there, there are 2 debits and 4 credits, every row should have the same date, same voucher number, same voucher type, debit 1 column, second debit, 3 credit amount. Assuming if you put it in Excel, it is a proper database. But normally when you download it, what happens? Date appears only once, one below the other appears, so you cannot take it out. So when it comes to the data and you start analyzing, these kind of things will happen. This vendor, you never made payment to the extent of 5 lakhs. He has always been in the range of, imagine if you are trying to do it manually, doing it with this tool. I think that is what you will be doing in future in the case of auditing and not the fundamental. See, this is the challenges are the very big things which we need to know. One is the bias. The bias is that if 100 people tell so much was good and that kind of a data is fed, then correspondingly the AI also will tell the page good. So it is nothing but the mass data. So if the data is tweaked, even the data that we give has got a bias to that, then the result also will be biased. That we need to be careful. Because A is not God. A is A. It is created by our own data. Safety. Safety is again a huge problem. When you say safety, one is that, for example, we talk about autonomous cars, driving cars. So when a car has an accident, who will be hold responsible? The driver? Car maker? The software maker? Government? Or the guy who sold the software? Who is responsible for the accident? It goes to the court of law. Who will be prosecuted? That's a big problem. Legal compliance is one of the biggest issues in artificial intelligence. Because whom will you make accountable? Because these are all autonomous things. For example, a robot is acting as a server. I think there is one Madras restaurant I saw in newspaper, at least I have not been to the restaurant. I think there is a Madras restaurant which is using robots as servers to serve the food. What I heard in saw the newspaper, somewhere in Guatemala, they say. Assuming that suddenly the robot hits you, he is not the customer. The shopkeeper responsible, or the software license which is being embedded in the robot is responsible. Very complicated case. He says, I have not done it. How can you prosecute somebody who has not done that? You will prosecute the robot. These are all some of the challenges. Safety, ethics is a big problem. It's not aeronautical here. Intellectual property. There are legal challenges surrounding the ownership of the data that is generated by generative AI models. Today, the biggest problem is that all these generative AI tools, like ChatGPT, Bard, or there are tools where you should show you something called DALI. How many of you have heard of DALI? DALI, have you heard of it? D-A-L-L-E, DALI. You heard of it? DALI. I'll show you. Interesting. And just go on. This is DALI 2, second version. Just keep it. This is nothing but your chat GPT system. Same company. The moment you click it, you go to the same site. Same site, same model. OpenAI is a company. In fact, we were all thinking that OpenAI means open source so that all of us can use it. There are some APIs that we can use, some engines that we can use, but it is price. You have to pay a lot of price. In fact, the moment you go to the premium version of ChatGPT, you have to pay a lot of price. It's not going to be, nothing is going to be free, no free benches. All of us are going to spend more money to do audit. The speed of my machine and the internet. Okay, so DALI, I can just give you a brief. DALI is a generative AI engine for creating images, pictures. Normally, when you create a picture, what do? You have all seen Photoshop. Photoshop, you have heard of it. You also heard a lot of photo editing software, picture editing software. All these things you have seen. But nothing is creating something new for you at all. It has got something, you can edit it, you can change it. But here, you tell a story, it starts putting a drawing. That is what is DALI. Assuming DALI, okay, try DALI. I thought I don't have enough stuff to talk for 3 hours. Now I'm running short of time. Has it been interesting so far? Are you learning something new? At least because I should. So being a small number of people, I should make some difference at the end of the day. I think it's been useful, right? So to use this, you can always create your own account, free account, some credits will be there. We have to be going to work. I think I have already exhausted some credit. I hope that some credit is available for me. You study everything, final parisha or the control. I correct a password, you put the yes.
How would copyright work?
That is exactly the point. Copyright is a problem. See, this is a copyright problem because they say you are picking up from somebody's work and from there you are improving, then have you got to pay copyright. That is what in the previous point that came. I told you that intellectual property is a challenge. That's what we said. Intellectual property is a challenge being disputed today. That is the reason why they said that generative AI they have to control through statutes. That's what they are saying. Every country is saying that some countries are banned, some countries are banned partially. All these kind of things are happening.
But as of now, can you use it for completely?
You can use it. As of now, as long as it is available in your country, you can use it.
Maybe when it is clear,
There is actually a case, as you say, there are legal cases that have been filed on them. People have said that it is, see.
Or should you acknowledge the source? Should you acknowledge the source?
Should you have it? Because it cannot acknowledge the source. That is where the neural network comes in, artificial neural network. See, now you have seen cat, you have seen dog. But drawing master has taught you how to draw. You have also done training and then learned to draw. Your parents have taught you what is cat. And so many friends have you taught different things to you. You have also paid some money and then went to the zoo and then see what is a lion. In the span of 20 years, you have learned about certain animals from so many sources. Today you are drawing a line. Who will you pay for property? Who will you pay for the knowledge? Whose intellectual property? Is it yours or your parents? Or your DNA? Or somebody who has taught you as a drawing master? Whose knowledge is that? The same question he is asking now. I'm just trying to defend from both sides. See, he said, I've got so many data points. From there it starts learning. Whatever that you have given it free of cost, I am giving. Yes, there are disputes that are happening. Intellectual property and copyright is a big issue that's happening now. See, now you just tell me, I can do something and then generate a drawing. Can you just you can say something, some English which can be converted to picture. You just give a scenario. Any one of you?
A child in a pram.
Child in a pram. Okay. Child. Actually, you are doing a simple. You have got 10 credits left. They give you 25 credits I think in a month. See, a child in a pram, these are all the actual pictures. So you have given something, you have given a very simple test to that, it's able to pick up. So now this could be a copyright violation. This could be a copyright violation. If I use it, it's coming from ChatGPT, it could be a copyright because it's the actual person photograph. So this is just giving. Now, see, now it's doing the same thing as a drawing is doing. See, a child in a parameter, a child in a parameter. This is all drawing which you can use now. See. See that, no? So these are the things that can create. The amount of mathematics, pattern, statistical pattern recognition, computer vision, machine learning, there is so much in that inside. It's doing all this, generating more. One more. See? Oh, you chose that as sketch. So he said it's a sketch, and it's doing sketches to that. See, let us take the life of an illustrator in an advertising agency. How many hours would have spent to do all these things? Today, the boss is telling, I would like to have a presentation to be made to Hindustan Lever day after tomorrow on a baby food, and I want somebody to write a copy, and nice illustration and nice positioning. Can we do pitching? So I've taken 2 weeks of burning midnight soil for excellent creators and illustrators and also copywriters. All these words which I am using, copyright is something phenomenally difficult and expensive. In fact, a simple 4-line, 4 words, they would have charged 1 crore of rupees for a copyright. You can never imagine such kind of audit fees. 1 crore of rupees. For example, to do the latest logo, not the latest one, past current logo of Wipro, I heard that they spent something like 2 crores developing the logo.
They had other features also, like the person pushing with the brand.
You can actually do that. That's what I'm saying. You experiment. You just go to Delhi. All of you can go home. You can log into Delhi today. This is also part of your ChatGPT. Next to that, open an account there. It will give you 25 credits. You just give all these examples. You can improvise. Only thing is that those points will come. Yeah, you are only going to experiment. You can do that. In fact, what I did is that just show. Just show this. Show this. This one. In fact, I wanted an illustration for this presentation. You will see the last slide this picture. I said, can you dress the parrot as an Indian astrologer and then make the astrologer as his mentor? is what the essence of all this. He did it. All this he did. I use the word Indian astrologer. Then he did all these things. The moment is that you dress up a parrot like an astrologer, you did this. You see the difference? It's more of a Western version of kind of an astrologer. Crystal ball gazer. Something similar to that. See, why I am saying this is that the way in which you put your question, I think as auditors, I think you are supposed to be trained better for questioning. Sorry, question மட்டுமே கேக்குறது சார் ஆன்சர் லைன் பேஸ் சார் not.
Is that what called the prompt engineering?
Yes, prompt.
Prompt engineering. Prompt.
Prompt.
Prompt engineering.
Prompt engineering, the latest. Because even to talk normally, they put all these jargons, no? Even I think these are all the things. In fact, there is a new profession that is going to emerge to train artificial intelligence. As you say, prompt engineering is that how you see ChatGPT is that you are there. You need somebody else to tell ChatGPT what you want to do. Unfortunately, it means that our intellect has to improve to talk to these things. Be precise. We are not precise any time in our reporting. It has to be done better. What has to be done? What is better? How it has to be done? When it has to be done? You don't tell. The government statement, கூடிய விரைவில் இது செயலாக்கப்படும். கேட்கறதுக்கு நல்லா இருக்கு. கூடிய விரைவில் இது செயலாக்கப்படும். கூடிய விரைவில் என்ன ஒரு வாரமா, ஒரு மாசமா, 10 வருஷமா தெரியாது. செயலாக்கப்படும் passive voice. So who will do? கலெக்டர் பண்ணுவாரா, தாசில்தார் பண்ணுவாரா, மினிஸ்டர் பண்ணுவாரா, யாரு பண்ணுவா தெரியாது. படும் passive voice. இது செயலாக்கப்படும் எது? கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் இருக்கு. அந்த கான்டெக்ஸ்ட்ல இவ்வளவா இதுதான். மக்களை நன்றாக கவனியுங்கள். இதெல்லாம் நம்ம ஆட்சியிலே கூடிய விரைவில் செயலாக்கப்படும். இந்த மாதிரி ஸ்டேட்மெண்ட் அதை கொடுத்தீங்கன்னா you can't get work done from here. What I'm saying, we have to be building our intellect to be asking things, putting things in a very precise manner. Even Google search app now. Now it's all the more easier for you. You can put your questions more precisely. When you want to say something, the biggest advantage in ChatGPT, born off, so you can keep improvising your questions. You ask a question, some result comes. Then you ask another question. In that context, it improves it. Then in that context, it improves it. So that is the advantage. So is it not something? It looks simple for us. It's not simple. There is a huge amount of artificial intelligence behind this to do that. Similarly, let's go back to this. Yeah. Some similar site, Crayon, similar artificial intelligence drawing site, but it's not so good. I tested it. So it's not so good, but definitely DALL-E is better. No. See, imagine you are sending an invite for your granddaughter's birthday. I now talk in terms of granddaughter because I become old enough to say that. So some of them for their daughters or son's birthday. You can easily simply do it. There are softwares like Canva. Have you heard of Canva? I think more people do it. Canva. If you use Canva, you can easily do that and put it in your WhatsApp. See, today I don't think I've stopped receiving invitations in physical form at all. Everything is coming in WhatsApp. So I also mostly ask them, greet them in WhatsApp itself for them finishing. Except that we don't do a Google Pay. Still. Okay. Fine. So next. See, these are some of the deep learning. We talked about deep learning. So this, we don't have to go deeper into this. These are all image recognition, natural. Two things that we need to remember here is that it's pretty complex network. It means that you got multiple layers of information and then you get output. That is why it's called deep learning. And in deep learning, you have something called supervised learning and unsupervised learning, which you saw in the earlier video. Supervised learning is that you take your kid, a hat, obo, nai, first you approach nai, so first one thing you tell the baby, oh. Actually, what is an oh? Have you ever thought of that? Why you are all of us? Not only this, not only in our language, even an English speaker, native English speaker, he said, oh, dog, don't go near that. This is what he will say. Why? Because the languages are bound by sounds. The dog makes that kind of a sound. The kid knows that the dog barks. And then he's trying to relate that sound to the kid without involuntarily, and then he's saying, oh. No. See, that's what we say. This is not actually, if you think the way in which we teach ourselves, we teach the kids, and then starts understanding artificial intelligence, you will actually perform much better. The only problem is that we have not understood the way in which we have been doing things. Please think deep learning into yourself, then you will learn all these things. Okay, next. Can this go back? Yeah, supervised learning. Say why I am saying supervised learning, I'll come to that quickly. Because you will have an audit assistant in your office, artificial intelligence assistant, and you keep training that assistant year on year. That's what will happen. So you keep training it. The problem is that if you teach it properly, you will understand it properly. If we don't teach it properly, that will also become a bad assistant. Because all these engines are going to learn from you. I'll show you how it will learn. Next. This is about, again, deep learning. So rapidly evolving field. Told them, I think, can we get some tea at Roller? None of us have got tea at Roller. We are given in the beginning and then we get to there a tea break or something? No. This is again an important slide. Just understand, I explained that you can read quickly. Explainable area. What is explainable area? See, we saw there is a problem in this deep learning works, and then this artificial intelligence, that it gives you some result. But if you want to find out how it gave the result, you cannot find out. If I am asking you a question, do you want to take this guy for a recruitment job? Why are you saying that? This is how artificial intelligence will answer. He doesn't know. Why? The problem when it comes to ethics and law, you should know why it has taken the decision and how it has taken the decision to prove that there is no bias. We talked about bias there. That is where now there is a branch called explainable artificial intelligence. So in this branch, because one of the biggest objections by all the governments and countries is that we don't know where it will take us. Copyright violation, ethical violation, it could pull out data of people, security violation. We can start doing something which can harm the human beings. These are all the fears. That is the reason why they said generative AI has to be, all these AI engines have to be controlled. You cannot avoid. You have to control. Cigarette smoking is injurious to health. I think that's all you can do. That way, this explainable AI is a branch of AI where they also try to find out how it came to that conclusion. This is what it is. So that's where the model is that introspection. It's called, there's a model introspection, is one technique called examining the internal workings. See, in a program you can find out, in a computer program, you know the lines of the program, this is what is input, this is output, and okay, you can understand. In an artificial intelligence network, it is not a program, it's a pattern, so many things are there. So you can't do that. This is what I try to work out. The problem is that to do this, again you need more processing power, more complex thought process, counterfactual explanation. These are all the theories behind all these things. So many universities, so many scholars are burning their midnight oil to do research. Just like that we are using WhatsApp and then saying, it's a nice. Behind this, so many people are working. They are all unsung heroes. Next. Auditing and AI. See, we talk about data analytics, fraud. See, because the data today, problem is that by the time from the trial balance to schedule 3, if you are completing it, you think auditing is done. That itself is a big problem. Everything has to be filed before September. What can I do? This is the challenge, no? If most of these mundane things are being done, you should be spending time on analysis, ratios, comparisons. Last year, why, what could go wrong? all that analytics can be done much faster, much better in your auditing. Fraud detection, one of the biggest thing. Lot of pattern analysis can actually throw up details on frauds. You have done Benford law is there. Benford law is one such law. All of you would have heard of this Benford's law. That's one model. Which can tell you if there is a pattern, then it is likely to be fraudulent. I mean, some theory, not a parallel theory. So there are a lot of these things can happen and can find out frauds much easily. As I said, if there are in a credit card transaction, if there are going to be million transactions, for example, in my case, in the last 2 years, this guy has not done any transaction outside Chennai or outside India, only on certain occasions, only of certain values. Those kind of things you can find. Then it finds out it's likely to be a fraudulent transaction, take the action. That's what. See, for example, anti-money laundering. In fact, today, the Federal Bureau of Investigation and some of these agencies are using artificial intelligence to know how because they get all the banking data from all the countries, the FATF. Huge amount of data. They analyze it and then find out which are likely to be money that is getting circulated in a particular way. So for all this it can be used. Risk assessment, audit automation. When I say audit automation, a lot of this mundane work can be done. See, if you know the process, that every purchase invoice is also going to be an e-invoice, that is also going to be picked up from a central database, which is not yet happened. So there is no question of invoice coming and somebody checking. And that is also going to be cross-checked by your system. And then the duplication is also going to be checked. There is no duplicate payment automatically. Assuming that many of these things have been put, which are all the risk you know as an auditor. You know, most of the risk is going to be addressed. Where is the question of checking the purchases and AP? You just press a button, probably do all these calculations. They check. Look at these 10 vendors. Be careful. You will go into those 2 vendors transaction. Then you will know some differences in pattern. You ask the promoter, no sir, that fellow was not able to supply. His supply also was routed to this fellow. Then you will be telling, oh, what is happened? Real up. Then you will know that these are all the bogus invoices which the promoter actually has infused. Take the money out. These are all happened. Whatever I am talking have happened in organizations. So, in no time, the problem is that the moment you become a branch auditor of a listed company, at some level, NAFRA is questioning you. Latest. So how will you protect yourself? Some of these things will be useful. Significant benefits in auditing is increased efficiency, accuracy, reduced risk. One of the biggest problems today the practicing chartered accountants are having is very high level of risk. For various reasons. It could be technology, it could be the general culture, which is deteriorated in terms of business culture. There is no employee loyalty, trustworthiness is not. A lot of things are happening. And average the people who want to make more money. The moment I start business, I should build a house, I should build an imported car. And then the business is thriving or not, I should do all these things. At the cost of a bank. Enhance insights into the business. These are all the things that can actually be achieved. See, there is nothing called artificial intelligence auditing straight away. You have understood the gamut of artificial intelligence. Now you know that in every bit of it is how it's going to impact you. No? Significant challenges. These are some of the challenges. Data quality. The biggest problem all of us are going to have is that not the analysis. The quality of data you are having. The quality of data, the amount of data that you take, the longevity of data, that means the frequency, the historical data, all these things are quality. Today the problem is quality of data is bad. Schedule 3 what it says? Aging 6 months, less than 6 months, am I right? I hope I am right. And it also says based on the due date. It was not in Schedule 6. Now with the new change it says, it says based on the due date. How many of us are asking what is the due date? Tally letter SAP letter Oracle date. We have got all kinds of clients. At least 90% of the clients have not plotted the due dates into the system. It means that it has to come from the order. From the order it has to pick up the due dates. It it has to be populated. So in an aging report, how many of your aging reports have got a not due column? Illa. Unfortunately, all of us are signing as per schedule 3. Is it as per schedule 3? Fixer as a register is maintained. And I don't know. Fixer as a register and then the other one goes. Maintain, ellaro. Certification of okay. So, assuming that the data quality is bad, for example, the due date is not there, what it will tell you? It will say you it's more than 6 months, but it cannot be more than 6 months because the agreement between the customer and our client could be between 3 months credit to her. If that is the agreement, then it becomes only 9 months, it becomes 6 months old, not 3 months. That's the quality. It's simple. I'm just telling you the simple example. Today, the data we have in all our SMEs or even bigger companies. In fact, you should be happy that most of your SMEs are much better off than bigger companies. Our experience with bigger companies, we are very happy because he knows. The moment we go to the bigger company audit, there are a lot of problems. So we don't have to really do hard work. A lot of things will come. Huge data, a lot of things will come. Bias. See, as I said, the bias is one of the factors that you need to be aware when it comes to using some of these tools or auditing. Explainability. The problem is that somebody tomorrow, if we have a board or a disciplinary committee is asking, how did you come to the conclusion that there is no risk of incorrect reporting? There is no risk of fraud. We should say that this has been done, this test has been done, this has been done. See, one is that you have to be seemingly, see, that's not gross negligence. I think ethical, the word is that one is gross negligence, other one is negligent, other one is diligent. You have to be seemingly diligent, whether it is really diligent or not. I think that is what is important. So, in conclusion, it's a powerful tool that can be used to improve the efficiency and accuracy of business audits. These are some of the tools. I would like to spend some 15 minutes on this. Let us take one of the examples. These are some of the brands, some of the companies that have tools. For example, Data Sniper, you will find it interesting. You can do a lot of auditing related things, but again, most of it is not applicable to the Indian context now. But you can start understanding how things are going to emerge. Mindbridge is a Canadian company. It's already into, I think it's collaborating with KPMG or something. They are already into AI-powered auditing platform which is machine learning to identify potential risk and problems in financial data. So first of all, to pull the data itself, we need to work a lot in these systems. Data Reward is again an interesting site. It has got of course, most of it is paid sites. I have taken trial before doing this presentation. I had to work a lot. So I just took some, in fact I have a cheat sheet with all the passwords, all these things, because I will not remember all these passwords. So for all these things I took some trial. Some of them are useful to even to do a trial. Some of them even the trial you cannot do without paying. A lot of these things cost a lot of money. Just go, accounts. You can come back to that. Just go back to the accounts. On the accountants, again, all these things, errors. See, accountant is one of the things that we are going to see is that I was telling how will it, I think you are asking a question. What is the question? What entry it has to pass? Beautiful question. Assuming they are getting some 1,000 invoices. Because typically, what is the big data sets in a large organization? It's essentially purchases, sales, inventory. These are the three things which are going to constitute almost 70% of the transactions. Assuming inventory is not there, it's a service organization. The accounts payable, accounts receivable is the maximum. Journal entries are supposed to be low, unless people make a lot of mistakes and do a lot of corrections. Those days we thought journal entries for corrections. Today everything is coming in journal. And then back payment is not supposed to be direct payment. Still we talk about accrual. It doesn't happen in most of the organizations. They straight away pay. These are all some of the issues. They will come to the date. Assuming that there are 1,000 invoices which are going to come today itself, we are almost getting 40% of the electronic form. Many people start sending the invoices in the electronic form, and they are already digitally signed. Okay. Now, scanned copies are also coming. Physical copies are also coming. Whether the copy is correct, this is the original invoice, this is a separate issue. They will come to it later. For an accountant, for the this is what happens, all these things, assuming that we scan it and give it. What do you do? The scanned invoices or the physical invoices, somebody is keeping it on the website. Sorry, they are, who's the vendor? Okay, fine. Is there a purchase order? Fine. Okay, what is this invoice number? Then all that he sees, he tries to understand, okay, this has to be debited to raw material purchases, credit the vendor. It takes such an amount of time. Assuming an engine is there, an artificial intelligence engine, it scans it, it starts understanding where is the invoice number. Because the invoice number need not be in the same place. In one invoice it will be at the top, one invoice will be at the left side, one will be some 4 inches below. It's not predictable, right? Date is there, GST number is there, your name is there, their name is there. A lot of these things. Assuming that an artificial intelligence engine is able to read it with a reasonable amount of accuracy and then convert that into a data, then half the job is done. Still you need to find out which account is to be debited, which account has to be credited. So it knows that the vendor name is there. It is able to guess the right vendor name. It will be looking for a vendor master there. Correct? So once you do that, 78% of the job is done. Then it starts also passing the entry and pushes into your system. Assuming there is an intervention in between and somebody is saying, yes, this is okay, which is much different from doing the entire thing yourself. And then it does, instead of debiting raw material, it is going to professional fees. It is already prompting it to you. And you are saying, no, it's not professional fees, it's purchase of raw material. What it does, it starts learning from you. That's the difference between a normal program and this. Oh, this vendor, if this is the item that is purchased, and if this is a HSN code, it should not be professional fees, it is raw material. So next time the same fellow is coming, it will do it correctly. That is the difference in A. Assuming this is done, that is the role of an accountant. So only the manager will be working. He is approving now, only he will approve now. Initially it will take time, but the amount of accuracy, now I am going to show you. What is the level of accuracy it does? Let us go to product. Now, just go to the, let's go to those. This is one such AI-powered invoice data capture tool. Okay, I just took a trial thing, 14-day trial. So since I took yesterday night, so it's like one. Study was going in properly. Now it's creating one more challenge for me. Saying that I sent the instruction you go to them. Because the trial period, all kinds of things will happen. two-factor authentication in Chile. I don't know how many. Sometimes it will be pretty useful if email IDs are critical, better to use two-factor authentication. If you have OTP, I will ask you something so that only then you go. Now I come to a side inside. Okay. See this invoice, I have actually uploaded. This one. Okay. This is a Hathway invoice of ours. Just see. They have converted them with all these things. Automatically, I haven't done anything. Yesterday I loaded this. I can even load one more now and show you. See this. It is picked up from here. It's picked up from here automatically the invoice number and then showing me the document number. If it is okay, I can say yes. And finally it also say confirm. The moment it confirms, it's ready for. So some of these engines have also got connectivity to. There is something one more application called auto entry. He has got connectivity to softwares like QuickBooks, Sage and things like that for the US. So it also pushes the entry. Now, just see the date it is picking up. It is converting that into a date parameter. Here it is showing us 2nd June 23. Before that it is asking me from which country I am in. Either India. It is asking me setting up what kind of normal date processing. So it is converting that into 2nd June. It become a date variable which you can calculate the due date, everything. It's not a text. If you look at this, it is nothing but a picture. This picture is converted into a data form. See the next one. So I am saying this is yes. So it says document type is a tax invoice. It's picking up from the top. Language is English. It says subtotal. See, this is not, it's not able to understand CGST and GST. That is because it is not from India. If you put a US invoice, it's able to understand VAT properly. So it's not much time we will take for this kind of guys or even some other Indian guy to come. For all we know, we might be developing one. Why not? Using all these engines, we can develop one. But having to develop that with the knowledge you and me are having. That is what has to be used. We are the teachers of this. How to take it up. What do you say? Invoice number, which is another invoice number. Number is an invoice number. Bill number is an we are telling no. So you tell them and teach it, it will do it correctly. So fourth time it make a mistake. Some new fellow, something else. You will know that this is also bill number. You say yes. For fifth time it will not ask you. It will understand it also. It will keep running. That's what I am saying. See, put the total amount, everything. I am saying confirming. It's confirmed. See, some other invoice is showing. He is showing some sample. All that is picking up. Document. See, he is able to scan it, do a OCR. It's called optical character recognition. Identify the places where it's likely to have the vendor or all this stuff. See, each one is different. Layout is different. So it's picking up. This is a scenario. Imagine a country like India where more than 5 crores is going to be e-invoice. For all we know, the government will allow you to use the e-invoice straight away. So that you get this straight in data form. So assuming for a large organization, 90% of the purchases is going to be e-invoice. And what will happen? 90% invoices will be picked up, it pass the entry, it will also do a confirmation reconciliation to the other guy. Normal things will keep happening. So this is exactly the thing which I was just trying to show. So it is not fiction, it is real today. Amazing. 2 years, 3 years back, I was hearing an experiment of somebody working on this in Sweden. It's an auto accounting. Don't tell me. A girl came to me and said, this is what I want accounting. I am employed by this company in Sweden. My father was going to be, he brought up. I said, this is how likely to happen. This happened today. It is not that company, some other company. Multiple companies have done it. In fact, I chose auto entry, that is also doing a good job. All this we pay. Now they go by the one line means so much cent, the charging for this. Some 0.021 cent per line. So if there are 4 debits, for example, we give 4 HSN code into this. Assuming HSN code is not there, we may have to train the model to understand what is HSN code. How does it, then how do you relate it? Then if this kind of HSN code range, can there be a TDS? What section? Assuming it will say that this guy is likely to have 194J and 194I. In fact, this section even here we have not done it. Today, you can set up, he will tell you, only one section can be mapped to in the SAP per vendor. Assuming that a guy is giving you professional service as well as renting out a warehouse. Same vendor. You know what the solution is? Create 2 vendors. Otherwise, you got to auto TDS. Otherwise, if you want to do auto TDS, do TDS, but you manually correct it. This is what the life today. They have not thought through many of these things. So, what will happen tomorrow? You won't even set the master. You will say this guy sketches a code, then this account code, then this is the TDS. Start running. Now, next day, the same fellow will give a warehouse rental, 194I. Then marketing commission is also acting as my marketing agent, 5% commission. That also it will learn. Then it will do it reasonably correctly. Still, we will be there. We will be approving it. See, today what's happening, 4 different guys are doing it, somebody is approving as an accounts manager. What is he doing? He is not approving. Our guys put I am also signing. That's all he is doing. So now it will be much better. Close this. So now it's, you can believe that it's happening. I was also surprised. Results. And I'm not able to show that the auditing, some of the tools, data analytics and modeling, it will be mind-boggling. Because most of it you don't understand. Because there's so many statistical models are there. And then it gives a prediction, it tells you of outliers, it tells you potential problems, everything it will tell you. But we need to have a good quality data to put inside. Only then it will happen. Okay, next. Say, to summarize the whole thing, we should welcome. It's a win-win for us. Artificial intelligence, we don't have to dread. We should be aware. Across the world, application of intelligence systems redefine the way we work. 4 things to reprogram ourselves first. AI forward data analytics is turbocharged because you can do things in a much faster sequence. for example, if you know driving, you can drive the car. If you are a sports car driver, you can drive it faster. Period. If you don't know driving, you can't use something like a car. So learn driving and use AI. An auditor is able to that books audited or accurate representation, free from material irregularities. We do samples most of the time. Today, most of the things can be done full. Even in many of these things, our own analytics we do 100%. Thanks to the tools. Even Excel is simple. It does not bother about too complex things. Excel. There's something called Power BI. You know Power BI. It's so easy. Actually, Power BI will come with AI soon. Because ChatGPT has been bought by OpenAI is going to be, Microsoft is investing in OpenAI. Power BI is a very good tool, provided you have the right kind of data. AI tools which use data mining, regulators take tougher stance today, so happening. So audit bots, all these bots will happen. You can do audits. So 10 article clerk in no time you can create. Next. Specific to accounting and audit, we have talked about all this. Help auditors work better, smarter, all blah blah blah. It's all you understood. I don't have to say all this. If you understood what can do, go next. This is what this scenario. AI will transform, not replace the accountants and auditors. It will change the way in which you work. Robots will not replace humans. They will coexist. Why? Because AI systems do not have a higher cognitive. So it means your normal cognitive capabilities it will take. So your higher level of cognitive capability. So it means that we need to do more meditation. And we need to improve our intellects at a higher level. According to Gartner, AI is set to create more jobs. According to them, it's likely to create different kind of jobs. A lot of jobs will be lost. See, when bullock carts are not there, our bullock cart drivers' job is lost. But car drivers' jobs are gone. So people have got to reskill themselves, reinvent themselves. Accountants don't have to worry about their job being replaced. Business will always be accountants who can interpret AI findings. So you need to use the tool right. They would go up in the value chain providing high-end consulting services in better business intelligence. So this is the 21. In fact, this picture was there in the 21 presentation. And this picture created in Delhi is in 23 presentation. Here I said, he is the astrologer, he is the auditor, he is the accountant. The parrot will pick the card and then he will interpret, he will tell. Here the parrot has started telling, this guy is a mentor. The parrot is doing his job, he start foretelling the things to the customer, but this guy is becoming the mentor for the parrot. And this is generative AI picture. That was the normal photograph. That's the transformation. And we can do things.
Thank you.
Exactly on time, right? The full 3 hours CPE is there. So what it says, ignore AI and perish. Embrace it and prosper. This is the word.